What's up, guys? It's Sorc back here with some Diablo 4. We're gonna go ahead and do a build video for my Frost Orb Barrier Sorc. So I just like Frost Orb a whole lot, and I think it's the best Frost skill in the game. Plus, I enjoy it from Diablo 2. So if you enjoy that skill, this is the build for you. Different, you know, basically. And that's what I think is best. Oh, so we're on the boss. So yeah, we're done with the dungeon. I'm gonna kill the ads because I don't know what he's about to do, but I don't like ads. So you just run, I mean, you can run counterclockwise circles. I just run circles around bosses. Make sure you hit him with the Frost Nova every chance you can, because the Frost Nova is the most stagger he's gonna get. I mean, this boss is like, he just has no chance, dude. He's about to get staggered too. He's dead. Right. Is he alive? Okay, no, he's alive. That's crazy. I let him live. I shouldn't have let him live. He's dead now, but I should have killed him in that stun. When you're leveling, it's okay. Use whatever skills you want. I mean, honestly, you can just use whatever you think is going to get you there. But eventually, and this is 70 plus, I think this is, I've tested all the different builds out with this character. I think this is ideal. Let me double check, make sure everything is exactly what I think is ideal. I don't know. I think this might be better. Let me change one thing real quick, because I think it's better. But other than that, I'm just making sure everything's, because I always change things just to see. Okay, I think we're good. Okay, so once you get over level 70, or even over 50, it doesn't matter. If you got your renown, you're ready to go, this is the build, okay? You want to do 2 into Firebolt because it increases the direct damage from skills, applies additional burn. If you take 1 out, it'll do less burn, okay? So this is just here to apply burn. It's really, that's the only point of it. There's no other point of this. And you'd be like, okay, well, I'm never going to cast it. Yes, you're never going to cast a skill, but it's there just to put the burn on, okay? Then when you come down here, you're going to grab Frozen Orb, 5 of 5 it. This is your main attack. This is the bread and butter of the build. This is what the build is. It's Frozen Orb, Barrier, Sorc. So Frozen Orb is everything we do damage-wise. And you don't get a choice here, but you do have a choice at the end as far as if you want 5 mana when hitting a frozen enemy, or if you want a 30% chance to get all enemies are hit or vulnerable for 2 seconds, and it always makes frozen enemies vulnerable. I don't even think there's a choice here. You want to get vulnerable proc at all times. This gives you infinite vulnerable proc. You don't actually have to use your Frost Nova for vulnerable. If you're having mana trouble, you can always try out this one, but it's not going to do nearly as much damage at all. Flame Shield, you need a point in there. You need Enhanced Flame Shield, and heals you for 50% of your missing life instantly. I mean, this is the best utility skill in the game. Second best would be Frost Nova. Now, I have played with maxing this out for faster cooldown. I don't think you need to, but Frost Nova is really good. It's just your like get out of jail free card. People are attacking you, and you just need to get some space. You can do Frost Nova, and it freezes pretty much everything. It also does apply your killing enemies frozen by Frost Nova reduces cooldown by 1 second. So if you can kill people with its explosion, you actually get it back faster too. And then it makes people vulnerable for like 6 seconds and bosses for 4 seconds and bosses for 6. This is the only way to go with this. This one just gives you mana. I mean, you need this vulnerable. It's so good. I mean, if you're really having mana trouble, you can try it out, but I'm telling you, this is the way to go. I've tried it a million different ways. This is not enough. Even if you pull up the screen and you fill your mana for every Frost Nova, you're going to get mana a different way on your items anyway. Ice Armor is actually key to my build, but 1 point it's more than enough. This could be something that I might apply more to get higher armors as I go through the game, but the barrier just has to be up, right? And then it increases your mana regen, and then now I've tried this one, which is pretty good. This one gives you more guys frozen on a screen, but this one actually gives you stronger barriers, so it's like more tanky. So if you're killing things pretty quick and you're not worried about them being tanky, you can switch this one to freeze them more. So this one's pretty much optional. You can pick either way. Teleport, you want to, I mean, you don't need necessarily the faster cooldown, but I kind of like it. And reducing damage by 30%, I think, is the only choice. I don't know what this one is. Crackling energy. The reason I put the point here is to get this 30% damage reduction for 3 seconds after a teleport. Isn't as good as a flame shield immunity, right? But it is solid. Like, it'll keep you alive when you shouldn't be. Elemental attunement, I actually had 3 points in here, but you don't need more than one, because you're going to critically strike enough every second that you're going to always have, I think, mine's always happening. It only happens once per 10 seconds, but one of these skills will get reset. Now, if you eliminate one of these skills, you can reset specific ones, which is really interesting. But I use all of them, so for my build, that's where that is. Lucky hit chance increased by 15%. You'll see why I grabbed this. It's very important, lucky hit, in my build. Ice Blades is kind of the most interesting part of this. I only use this to spam for more mana and to reset cooldowns. It's here to not even do damage. Sometimes it'll kill a guy, but it's here to give me my other skills back. And it's, in my opinion, better than Deep Freeze to do so. Deep Freeze is cooldown's too long. You get this every 10 seconds or less, you know. So this just takes too long to get. But Deep Freeze is another option. You can put 3 points in here. I was doing that while leveling sometimes. But you can cast it and cancel out. But I like Ice Blades a lot better. I feel like the build just flows a lot better with it. Now, on the right side here, you have a bunch of defensive things. And I find these to be like the best defensive nodes on the entire tree. After you spend 100 mana, you gain 15% damage reduction for 5 seconds. I mean, 15% damage reduction all the time, because you're always spending 100 mana. It's like just free. And then this one gives you a barrier every time you use a cooldown. And this is how I keep my barriers up all the time. And you'll see why that's so important when I get to the item choices. But you need to keep your barriers up at all times. So every time I spam one of these skills, they all have cooldowns, right? Any of these skills, I get my barrier back up. My barrier. So I have barriers up all the time. This also increases the duration of the barriers to make sure there's no gaps in it. You could probably take a point or two off if you're already hitting 100 and throw in more chill damage while you have the barriers up. I'm not sure if I'm quite there. Frost skills have a 9% chance to instantly freeze. This is great because it's a lucky hit build, so you're just freezing things without ever doing anything. I don't use anything from this tree, but I do have an item that's giving me +1. Except for this passive right here, and that's your pyromancy skills deal 3% increased damage while you're healthy. Why would I get that? I don't need pyromancy skills. I don't even use pyromancy skills. Well, it's this modifier right here. Devouring Blaze is probably it. It's the entire reason for this skill placement right here. Since you're gonna use an enchantment on this, every skill you use is gonna apply burning for 8 seconds. If things are burning, then they're gonna do increased critical damage, and if they're immobilized, its bonus is increased to 75%. What immobilizes? Well, your flame shield with the mods I'm gonna put on. So your flame shield immobilized plus that is absolutely insane. I am looking for amulet that gives me +2, or I think maybe +3 to this, because I think that'd be insane. But increased critical strike damage by that much is it's very useful. And if it wasn't for this, there'd be a different way I would make this build work. But there is another way you can do it. I'll show you that later. But this is only for applying that burn and getting the crit damage. So that's like the main flame stuff in the whole thing. So it's an ice build entirely. And then you grab 3 of all the ice passives. So you get bonus damage to elites, which is the most important one. That's bosses and all the elites. Cold damage to vulnerable. Cold damage against vulnerable enemies has a 20% chance to generate 15 mana with a lucky hit thing. And then chilled and frozen enemies, you get bonus damage to both of them. Now, I read this one wrong at first. It says you deal 12% increased damage to chilled enemies and 24 increased damage to frozen. So if they're frozen and chilled, it's like 36%. I would not miss this. This is huge damage. And then Avalanche is my key passive. This is why Lucky Hit is my main focus of the build. Your frost skills are free 10% of the time off Lucky Hit. They cost no mana, and they do 40% more damage. This is only for Ice Shards, Frozen Orb, and Blizzard. So if you're not using Ice Shards, Frozen Orb, or Blizzard, this is a useless skill. But I don't use Ice Shards, and I don't use Blizzard. Frozen Orb gets basically, this is how I double my cast speed a lot of times. A lot of times you get the free one. And the most important thing, it just does so much. Oh, no, I'm sorry. This just almost doubles your damage right there, okay? I'm getting ahead of myself. But for Paragon, you just want to, the boards I chose were this, well, the first board, I threw my dexterity thing in here for increased damage to burning enemies, increased direct damage to burning enemies. Obviously, there's pathing involved. You just want to take the shortest route if you can. I guess I grabbed this on the way up, and I grabbed this on the way up. That's kind of important, right? So those are what I grabbed on the first board. After that, I flipped the board this way and grabbed, this is the Frigid Fate board. I don't know the exact name, but the one that has Frigid Fate on it. Because, yeah, I mean, it's Lucky Hit, Cold, Vulnerable. It's dope because it increases your Lucky Hit chance, and mine's a Lucky Hit build. I grabbed this node, and then I put in here vulnerable damage. It's not the most damage possible, but it does allow me to get the increased damage and mana regeneration. I might switch this one out for another intelligence. Wait, this is intelligence, right? There's another intelligence one you can switch in here if you want. I think this one could work, but the problem is it doesn't give you any. It gives you AoE on mastery skills. So if you're using Blizzard, you'd switch in the adept one. But anyhow, I grabbed this on the way out as well. And then I come out to this board, and this board, I'm not even finished with it, but it's Icefall board. I just went with the ice boards first. I'm going to end up doing a lot more boards eventually, but I grabbed Frigid. This one I grabbed mainly for getting the bonus to intelligence here. So, and then this glyph is really important. It just does 30% more non-physical damage. So the resistance thing is kind of a bonus, not really that important, but yeah, so the glyphs are pretty simple. I mean, you grab this one on the way here. This is where I'm at with the glyphs. Honestly, the Paragon board's so, in my opinion, intuitive. It's simple. It's not complicated. This is the more complicated part, in my opinion. Now, obviously, when you're doing the Paragon, you got to make sure you min-max and make sure you don't waste resources. So, like, if you're going to have to go around a strength, I'm sure there's somewhere on here I did this. Right here, I can go around the strength. Oh, yeah, actually, I might do that. Oh, I don't know why I did that. Never mind. Anyhow, see, sometimes you find something like that. But anyhow, if you're gonna have to go around something, it's generally better to go straight through because you want to save as many points as possible. Going around 2 points of these passives to get the right passive, you're better off just grabbing the stupid strength if you have to, you know. It's just there to make you confused for no reason. Like, grab the straightest route, the quickest route to the legendary nodes. Obviously, you want to optimize your intelligence over everything, and then I'd say willpower and dex equally. Like, strength is the most useless thing. I should mention that. All right. Now let's go over the aspects required for the build. The only aspect that is definitely required is Frozen Orb stays in place after reaching its destination and explodes 2 additional times. You can put that on your weapon or your ami or your gloves. The other one that you definitely need is the Avalanche key passive now applies 1 additional cast. Those are the required amis. Everything else you can do is a bonus. So the one that I think is the most powerful and I'll probably end up running on an amulet eventually is dealing percentage increased damage while you have a barrier active. I'm probably going to put that on my amulet eventually. Haven't done that yet. Critical strikes with your core skills increase attack speed. This just gives you insane cast speed. Attack speed and cast speed are the same thing in this game. I would definitely run that on one of your offensive things. You can also put on your ring. Another good one for offense on the ring is skills deal up to percentage increased damage based on available primary resource when cast, receiving maximum benefit when you have full primary, because a lot of your skills aren't even going to cost mana with the Avalanche key passive. So I think this might be one of the stronger ones. There's also another one, barriers increase vulnerable damage, also solid. You can run here, or you can run a resource on the other ring. This one's required as well, I guess. Using a cooldown restores mana. You'll find this all over the place. You can get it from a dungeon for 15. The highest I've found is actually 19. I'm not gonna lie. A 25 here would be key for a build. Flame Shield. Oh yes, you do want to make sure you have Flame Shield. Lets you move through enemies on something on your gear. I really like the Ice Heart Rise. I think it's better than anything else I can get on pants for just clearing rooms damage. But if you're running other pants, I mean, you could put one of the other aspects that I'm going to mention here as well. And we already went over the glove aspect. The helmet aspect. This is one I think is really useful. I think this is best in slot for this build. Is lucky hit chances increased while you have a barrier active. You can't put this on anything else besides one of the other offensive spots. So you can put it on your helmet for more offense. Defensively, the barrier active, ignore incoming damage is solid. I think you might be better off running the increased armor that everyone runs. You know, you can do that as well. And then you have the option of running the barrier, you know, the automatic barrier thing as well. So you can put any of those on. These are just different options I have for switching in and out. So that covers the aspects that, I mean, there is, like I said, there's one more aspect that is a possibility. You deal 20% increased damage to vulnerable enemies while you have a barrier. This, instead of this, may be better. So I haven't, both are good. Both are solid. I'm not sure which one's better, so do your own testing with that and see which one you end up liking more. But you can run through the content that I've already shown. I mean, 10, 20 levels higher than you easily with this build. It permanently freezes. It's just a dope build. There's one thing, and this is something I didn't exactly mention yet, but your skills, Frost Nova, Ice Armor, Ice Blades, Flame Shield, Teleport, and Frozen Orb. It doesn't matter what order you do them, what buttons you use. I use QWERT because I'm an old school gamer. I like hold my hand right there and I right click for my Frozen Orb. But these enchantments are extremely important. You have to have the Firebolt enchantment here for the burning effect. Otherwise, you need to respec the whole build. And Frozen Orb obviously is the best enchantment. It has a 20% chance of doubling your damage straight up with another Frozen Orb every time you cast anything. Anytime you cast a non-basic skill. I don't have any basic skills, so every time I cast a Frost Nova, I get another Frozen Orb, Ice Armor, Ice Blades, Flame Shield, and Frozen Orb. So Frozen Orb will get more Frozen Orbs, which means when I'm refreshing my cooldowns, I'm spamming all these things. If I'm just safe, I can just press every button over here non-stop and get the most damage output, and it's out of control. So I mean, at 75, I can run 85 level content, so 10 over easily. I'm sure I can run like 15 over pretty comfortably. So we'll have to try that in a minute if we feel brave enough. If you guys, these guys are only 5 levels lower than Uber Lilith, man. And I'm only 75. I'm not even like, you're not supposed to try here until you get to 100, right? These guys are they're level 95, dude. Oh, look at this guy. But see, I can just freeze things unless they're like things that can't be frozen, man. That's pretty good. Dude, that guy like smacked me, but I was like invincible, so that's cool.